Hey, been working on the incompleteness thing, the tool deal, and decided to give two separate video responses because I don't want it to be long. And what I wanted to do was, I know in your video, you presented a sort of a paradox, but you were good enough to say, of course, there's room for third position, and you were open to that. But I want to try. You called it a thought experiment, so I wanted to just answer if in fact I had to choose one of two things, either a perfect God and a purposeless life, or an imperfect God and a purposeful life, which one would I choose? So that's what I applied my thought to, and it wasn't that hard for me. And I'll give you the answer and then a brief reason why. And I would say this: if I had to choose between the two, I would go with a purposeful life and an imperfect, or a God that has needs. And the reason for that is I can't think of a single example, and if anyone else can, feel free to comment on the video, but I can't think of a single example of an intended object or creation that didn't have a purpose. So I'm very comfortable with the idea that if something is intentionally created, there's a purpose, regardless of whether it's entertainment, just to burn off energy, whatever it might be. If it was intended, there's a purpose. And I leave way more room for me, no matter what attributes I would like to give to this God we're considering, or I've come to believe about God, I leave way more room for me to be inaccurate in my understanding. There's way more room for me to have a misunderstanding as to the attributes of God. So, perfect being complete or incomplete, I would leave room that I don't understand God as clearly as I think I do or would like to. And so that's that. How's that for a good short answer between the two? Now I'll come back. Well, you know what? I'm going to tag on the other thing real quick, and then I can always edit it if I go too long. The third position, and someone mentioned it, an atheist I think was saying, if you try to make a theist argument, I didn't know there was a shortage of theists wanting to argue, but it is a third position, and it's simply that I would not accept initially that anything made or created is a tool. And there were things I was thinking of, art and games and competitions and things that we do because of desire alone, that I don't necessarily see as directly connected to a need or an incompleteness of any kind. Now that's arguable, I know, but I don't see it that way. And I would offer this little thought process, and that is working around the idea of contentment or need. And you might need, what is a need? I mean, a need for us to live is like what? Food and water and shelter and oxygen. And I'm sure there are other things, but those are needs. And if those are met, it can be argued that there are no more needs, only desires. And like for me, I mean, I need water, but if I have all those things, you can say my needs are met, my environment is complete, I have everything I need to live. But I don't just want water, I want bottled water. I don't just want rest, I want a good night's rest on a nice bed. I don't just want shelter. A nice home would be more along the lines of what I would like. So you see, I want to argue whether desires are indicative of needs. Another way to look at that is, and I'll just say this, if I am content, let's use contentment as a baseline. If all of my needs are met and I have no desires, let's just say those two things are there. I have no strong desires, all my needs are met. I describe that as content. And for the sake of argument, I would go ahead and say, hey, anything less than my needs being met, and if I have any strong desires, I would say, okay, let's call that less than perfect, incomplete in some kind of need. But what about anything that you would consider a stage above contentment? Like happy. If a person is happy, if something makes a person happy and raises him up from content, I don't know that indicates there was any need. The guy doesn't have to have any desire for something to come along and make him happy. What about joyful? I was thinking I wouldn't even have to do anything, make anything, need anything. I could just get news, not even about me. I thought about a friend of mine, married for 7 years, could not have children, and then all of a sudden, bam, they were pregnant. I was tickled pink. I was joyful. I was so happy for them. I don't think I had any need whatsoever to experience happiness. Ecstatic, you name it. But I would argue against the idea that to have a desire is indicative of a need or incompleteness. I don't accept that. So, what do I think then? What's my third position? It is simply that God is as complete as can be, perfect by that definition, without need, but He's creative and imaginative, and I am, and you are, interactive art. I think God likes what He sees when He looks at us. I think He likes to interact with us, and I think we at least have the possibility of meeting our purpose, and I hope that I am. I hope that you are. So there's my answer. Hi, I'm Art.